middle of page 33, the Bordens. They were young girls. He had earned his money, and he did not care for the things that young women in their position naturally would. And he looked upon those things, I don't know just how to put it. When a friend suggested it would please his daughters to move into more fashionable quarters, Mr. Borden had replied, "What is wrong with the house? It is good enough for me, good enough for anyone to live in." And indeed it was a pleasant, sturdily built place, with airy rooms, an abundance of tall windows, and 5 bedrooms, all within easy walking distance of his business contacts in town. Much as they would have preferred an ornate house on the hill, Lizzie and Emma both had to agree that living on 2nd Street was more convenient for their father, so they did not urge him to move. But that could not keep them from noticing how lavishly other, less well-to-do businessmen indulged their daughter's expensive taste. Whatever the cause of Lizzie and Emma's discontent, it could not be kept sealed behind closed doors. People noticed, and they talked. The Bordens were too well-bred to quarrel in front of the maid, but like Bertie Whitehead and Widow Gray, Bridget Sullivan could not ignore the tension. Despite her light duties, Bridget had given her notice 3 times, staying first out of loyalty to Miss Borden, and later after being offered a raise, likely out of Abby Borden's own pocket. And there were other strange things about the household. Odd habits, Bridget called them. Those 3 locks in the front door, for starters, and the key on the mantel shelf in the sitting room. Mr. Borden was not the only one who kept his bedroom door locked. Lizzie did too, but only Mr. Borden left his key in plain sight. Just over a year before he was murdered, Mr. Borden arrived at the police station to report that someone had burglared his home. In broad daylight, with his daughters and the maid both at home, sneaking up the back steps, through the master bedroom, and into Miss Borden's adjoining dressing room. There the thief had broken open Mr. Borden's desk and made off with $80 cash, 25 to 30 in gold, Miss Borden's gold watch and chain, and a number of horse car tickets. A 6 or 8 penny nail, likely used to pick the lock, was found jutting from the bedroom keyhole. No other room in the house was disturbed, and no one else's property was stolen. Nobody had seen a thing, not the 3 women inside the house, nor any of the neighbors, Inspector Dennis Desmond questioned. However clever the thief had been about slipping in unseen, swiping the horse car tickets was a mistake. Mr. Borden had once been a director of the Globe Street Railway Company, and these free tickets were a perk, specially marked and easily identifiable. Once the conductors were alerted, anyone attempting to use them would be immediately linked to the robbery. Eventually, there would be rumors that the tickets had indeed been used and traced to none other than Lizzie Borden, prompting her father to hush up any further investigation. Inspector Desmond, however, made no such claim in his report of the break-in. "So far as I know, this robbery has never been solved," he concluded. Why then, with the thief still at large, would Mr. Borden triple-lock his front door, only to leave the key to his bedroom on the mantel shelf for anyone in the house to use? Some wondered if it was a subtle jab aimed at the real culprit, his way of silently proclaiming that the theft was an inside job. But by the following spring, the barn had also been broken into twice. The only thing of value inside was a flock of pigeons, but that did not change the fact that the Borden security concerns seemed to be more mounting, nor did it quell the uneasiness spreading throughout the family as spring gave way to summer. Lizzie's pigeons. Myths persist to this day that the pigeons in the barn were Lizzie's beloved pets. One day Mr. Borden beheaded them to punish her, the story goes, so vengeful Lizzie hacked him to pieces with the very same hatchet. There is no evidence, however, to suggest that the pigeons were anything more than livestock occasionally served at the Borden dinner table, and though Mr. Borden did slaughter them soon after the break-in, probably to deter future burglars, Lizzie herself testified that he'd wrung their necks.